Welcome back. Well, there we have it. 2 down, 1 to go. Brendon, what did you make of that? Do you think there was a clear winner?
Well, there was a lot more energy from Barack Obama. I thought he probably just won the debate. It wasn't an overwhelming win. I think Mitt Romney appeared very moderate in many regards. He showed that moderate side of the first debate. He denied a lot of things, so he was arguing for a stalemate a lot of the time. And sometimes it got bogged down. It wasn't the most scintillating debate, apart from when they got very close to each other on the floor and they were talking over each other a few times.
A little bit feisty there.
Yeah, that provided some more drama, but it wasn't as much drama as, say, the Biden-Ryan debate, where there was just drama every question, basically. This one, there was, I think, fairly dry patches and then periods of excitement.
Do you think both men did what their parties needed them to do?
I think Obama needed to energise his party. I think the criticism of Obama's first debate performance was largely from Democrats, saying we want more from you, we expect more from you. Romney, this moderate position, I think, will bring on votes, but some within the party might think, well, what about the Mitt Romney of the primaries? Where has he gone on immigration? Where has he gone on some of his other policies? So there's this question about Mitt Romney that I think will still remain there, of which Mitt Romney turns up.
Brendon, you mentioned that this debate was a bit livelier than the first one, but will it have anywhere near as much impact as that first one did?
I think it will stabilise the Obama campaign. So we're into a very tight election. Ohio is where all the energy and all the money will be heading at the moment. That's the key state. And I think it will right the ship a bit more for Obama. So if Obama had had a bad performance, this would have been real trouble for his campaign.
A lot riding on this, obviously. Clear and concise arguments were key here. Did Obama defend his record and sell his vision at least as good as his running mate Joe Biden did last week?
I don't think that was his strength. I mean, attacking Romney was his strength. Saying that Romney's tax plan was sketchy, I think that was probably Obama's best moment, where he's saying, well, give us the deductions, give us these loopholes that you're going to come up with. He didn't put a lot of details on what he's going to do in the future, talking just about manufacturing jobs quite a lot, but I think it was a little bit limited, his plan for the future. Romney also, I think, limited on his plan for the future, but pretty effective on hitting Obama on jobs, saying you just haven't created enough jobs, and those first few questions gave Romney some, good momentum at the beginning of the debate on that topic.
Well, speaking of momentum, did Romney do enough to keep up the momentum that he gained from in that first debate?
I don't think so. I think Obama would have come back much more with this debate. He needed a good performance. His presidency, to a degree, was on the line. He would have known that. And I think Obama's performance overall will even things up in the view of these two candidates as debaters. So people will be sort of hanging on this third debate. I think that will be quite testy. But in some ways, they've ground each other sort of to the ground on certain issues by saying, well, no, you're not telling the facts right. And this, I think, confuses the voters quite a lot when they do this.
Interesting to see the strategies employed here as well. In the first debate, Obama was accused for not bringing up some of the weaker points of Romney's campaign, the 47% Bain Capital involvement and Romney's failure to present a big history of tax returns. But we didn't hear much of that in this second debate either.
It was a little bit asinine. I think this tends to be maybe poll tested. The polls probably tell Obama's camp that you should be positive, talk about the future, don't talk about the Bush administration, don't go on too much about Romney's past and Bain. I think this can be a problem. I mean, it makes you sound a little bit too manufactured. And there was clearly a lot more passion from Obama in this debate, but it is curious that he doesn't want to bring up the past that much. He wants to talk about the future or Romney's particulars on the campaign at the moment.
Well, we know these two candidates are bunkered down in debate preparation for days on end, so nothing really is left to chance. That was obviously a strategic move. But with that in mind, the fact that it's very heavily scripted and orchestrated, who do you think came across as being the most genuine?
Well, I think that was a big challenge. I mean, empathy is the real challenge in that hall, in that town hall style, to show that you understand. Obama had that moment where he talked about the person being shot by the gun in that tragedy, and he meeting the family, and that I think showed his empathetic side that Americans probably always haven't seen. I mean, Bill Clinton was a master at this style of debates, and I think neither of them reached that level. But I think both of them showed a fair degree of empathy. I think Obama, particularly as the debate got towards the end, was probably showing himself to be a little bit better at that format.
I'm just wondering now if we can go to some of the grabs, hear from the candidates themselves on what they've been saying. There was an interesting moment when it came to talk of pensions. Even in these heated exchanges, we saw Obama trying to make light of his opponent's wealth. It was perhaps as close as we got to a zinger, one of those one-liners that really hit the mark and that resonated with the audience. Let's have a listen to what was said.
Could you make a point? Any investments I have over the last 8 years have been managed by a blind trust. And I understand they do include investments outside the United States, including in Chinese companies. Mr. President, have you looked at your pension? Have you looked at your pension?
I've got to say.
Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
You know, I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Let me give you some. Let me give you some advice.
I don't check it that often.
Well, I was reading the New York Times blog during the debate, and they were arguing that it's not a blind trust because Romney's lawyers control that investment that Bain makes in China. So I think on the margins of who's interested in this debate, that's been a really lively issue, this investment issue in China. Clearly Obama was more willing to use the zingers. He talked about his dislike of pre-prepared jokes last time round, but I think he realises that this is a bit of theatre as well as just being about the ideas out there, and I think he came armed with a few more sort of verbal weapons this time round.
Indeed. So Brendon, what can we expect between now and the next debate?
Well, the next debate will focus more on foreign policy, I think. We'll hear a lot more about America's role in the world. I mean, we didn't hear at all really about environmental policy today. We heard about energy policy. Obama never mentioned global warming, which is quite a change from 2008. I think both sides will be realising that a really strong performance in that third debate could be crucial in the election. So that I think the debates matter this year a lot more than people thought they might have. I think a lot of people thought, well, things are a bit sort of a foregone conclusion. Romney is unlikely to win. But the debates, I think, have really come into this election as a real factor.
Brendon, thank you very much for joining us. Well.